Hello and welcome to Sovereign RPG. I am Sovereign and today we'll be talking about nanocores in Eve Echoes. Another new addition released in the Exploration expansion and part of the series that myself and Nina are working on to get you guys the most information possible. We will be going over what they actually are, what they do, how to get them, how to train the secondary stats of them, and if they're actually worth getting. So without further delay, let's get straight to it. To sum it up simply, nanocores are glorified rigs for your ship that come with additional skins and color customization for it. They have a unique slot in the fitting screen and you can only fit one at a time to the ship itself. Once fitted, it can only be used for that ship until removed. Nanocores currently come in 3 types, with the 4th type hinted at for the future. Also currently there are no skills which increase the success rate of nanocore production, so keep that in mind when looking at the success rates. Type 1 nanocores, the green icon, are your entry-level nanocores with a fairly basic customizable skin attached to them and the lowest primary stat bonuses. These can be freely traded on the market and are the cheapest to make with fairly high success rates, about 60%. Type 2 nanocores, the blue icon, are the next stage up. These have more detailed skin, adding a little more customization to the colors. They also have a moderate step up of the primary stat bonuses, freely tradable on the market but more expensive to make, with a lower success rate than Type 1 nanocores, around about 50%. Type 3 nanocores, the purple icons, are the big daddy nanocores, offering the best primary stat bonuses and giving you access to a fully customizable faction skin. So think your Balgorn skins but on any Amar ship if you use a Blood Raider Type 3 nanocore. Just pure sexiness. These are also untradeable by any means, so you need to reverse engineer them yourself in order to use them and are predictably the most expensive nanocores to try, and produce with the lowest success rate of 30%. Production of nanocores is very similar to the upgrade process of Dead Space modules with the same items required. However, the main item is changed to medium experimental data boxes. These come in 3 types. One for each type of nanocore you wish to produce, and a separate one per pirate faction. These are also located inside Nyla space in boxes generated by the Dead Space gates. So now you've brought or created your nanocore, what next? Simply load up the fitting screen, click the big chip looking icon under your low slots in the bottom left, find what core you own and simply hit fit, and there you go. The game will generate a small step-by-step tutorial showing you how to use the basic commands, picking a main attribute, starting up the customization process for your skin. Your first skin customization per nanocore is also free. However, if you wish to change it again, you'll need items found in a Concord credit store. You can also skip this step and retain the free customization for a later date. Once you confirm editing and finalize the details, your main stat can't be changed without needing items. Please remember that. So be sure to double check you have the correct attribute. You can also remove nanocores and keep the customization intact. So, for example, if you have one for your APOC, once you hit T10 and obtain an APOC striker, you can unfit it off the APOC and refit it onto the striker without losing any saved attributes or training progress. For Type 3 nanocores, after you fit them to a ship and click the view details, you can access the secondary stat training screen. This allows you to give additional attributes decided at random from a pool of pre-selected attributes, which also has a random strength attached to each attribute. Each training slot requires more stages than the previous one with more item cost per slot. However, the success rate remains roughly similar to how far in you've trained. So at least it doesn't get absolutely stupid towards the end where you need 10 stages of training for the final slot. Since the secondary attributes are completely random, you can obtain items from the Concord store to re-roll them into more desired attributes. Or try your luck at seeing if you can increase your current one higher. A very important note to mention at this stage: if you leave the station with a partially trained nanocore and your ship gets destroyed, the insurance will only return fully trained levels back, effectively wiping out all the partial progress to that level. This is another sort of random RNG mechanic that's kind of weird, causes some issues, especially since they want the insurance system to cover everything to make it easier, and now they've added a mechanic that kind of cuts that down a little bit. Like, for it not to save progress of what you've been doing is kind of like against what they wanted for the insurance system in the first place, but it is what it is. And finally, we have the Concord Pass nanocores. Breeze Type 1 cores for frigates and destroyers, Thermomagnetic Type 3 cores for battle cruisers and battleships. These are available for 1,575 and 1,969 points for the Breeze cores, and around 19k and 22k points for the thermomagnetic cores. Just remember, the primary stats for both these cores is turret based and they won't be hotfixed to be useful on other ships. So if you like drones, missile ships, mining barges, you're just buying the skin primarily. You can contact customer support asking for a refund of the points. However, if you did buy a core thinking it would be useful on those types of ships, then you were horribly bloody wrong. Again, another thing that's weird as hell. They did mention there was a lot of issues, especially with the actual implementation of the nanocores themselves. I don't know whether they just didn't have enough time. They've rushed it through and there wasn't enough stats in there, but they're going to fix them eventually. Just not going to be updating the nanocores that you've got previously to these ones. And I do apologize if you are hearing the builders in the background. They only like to do work when I'm making a video, so they are going to the deepest depths of hell. So anyway, the Concord cores function the same as the player-made cores with different skins. However, one massive difference is the attribute bonuses that they give. A player-made Tech 1 core will give at least 12% damage, whereas the Breeze Type 1 core will only give 8%. A player-made Type 3 core gives a massive 16.8% bonus to damage, whereas the Concord version only gives you 12% to damage. In addition, the Concord Tier 3 secondary attributes for some low slots have as much as 10 different attributes to select from. The final 6th slot having a massive 33, all with their each specific chance to roll low or high on the attribute as well, leading to a massive RNG/gacha reroll wall if you're unlucky like I am in most games. My RNG is dog shit. On the other hand though, player-made Tier 3 cores have between 2 to 4 attributes depending on the faction/slot you're currently training. Now the next section is going to be Nina's opinion, although I do agree with Nina on literally everything. So you can see it as both mine and Nina's opinion on the actual whole thing. Personally speaking, the Concord cores, if you use a turret ship, are a perfect way to get into exploration and get your toes wet with the mechanics of the nanocores themselves without having to put down a potentially huge investment into the player-made versions. Training the secondary attributes of the Concord Tier 3 cores could end up being a very big headache. But that being said, getting 1 or 2 secondary stats shouldn't be too much of a pain. The first one is 100% training success for all stages as well. The devs are also aware of the issue, as I said earlier, with primary stats being wasted on a rather big selection of ships. You can buy the Concord Nanocores 4 and will address this in the future on upcoming Nanocores, which sucks if you really like this skin from your mining barge or something, but won't get any bonuses from it. The nanocores pose an interesting new mechanic to EVE Echoes, and when fully refined and ironed out with more choices such as more defensive focused or utility focused nanocores, it will offer another level of fit and customization that will help stray ships away from one single meta build. Plus, it would always keep you on your toes in PvP, considering you might not ever know what surprises lay in store when you find someone in low sec. This is massive for me, especially when it comes to the PvP. It was getting really stale. It was the only thing that I really enjoyed in EVE Echoes towards the end. And I just knew what everyone was going to be flying because everyone was flying the same bloody ships. Now with the nanocores, it adds a little bit of difference, and there'll be people that will be throwing in some insane builds in there and some insane bonuses in there. I just really hope they do get around to actually adding those things. So myself and Nina want to thank you for watching. Remember to like and sub for all future EVE Echoes content. Lie safe and avoid local chat scams. I want to say a huge thank you to all my patrons. Without you guys, I wouldn't be able to continue doing what I'm doing. If you'd like to find out how to become a patron and how to get early access to my content, please look down in the description. Fly safe and avoid local chat scams.